Can you imagine waking up every morning to work for 10 hours and then head straight home to do schoolwork until midnight? A lot of college students live some kind of version of this schedule, and honestly, it's a setup to be burnt out. The reason why I'm talking about this today is because many of us are juggling school, work, and life all at once. Maybe you're working full time, or maybe you've had a semester where you've taken on more than you can handle. So, this is something that pretty much affects every college student, including myself. I looked into research from universities, psychology organizations, labor statistics, and even sleep studies to understand what happens when someone tries to work full time and take on 15 or more hours, credit hours that is. And the results are pretty alarming. My main argument today is simple. Working full time while taking 15 plus credit hours is a bad idea because it damages your physical and mental health, hurts your academic performance, and puts you at risk for long-term burnout. But the good news is that there are easy ways to fix this, and some of them you can actually start doing today. So here's what I'll cover today. First, the impact on your health, then how it can affect your grades, and finally, some solutions that colleges can take and things that students can do to avoid burning out. Let's start with the part that we feel the quickest, and that's the combination of these two and what it does to your body and your mind. The National Library of Medicine's research in 2022 found that students that work more than 30 hours a week while taking full course load reported much higher levels of stress and anxiety than students that only worked part-time. It also pointed out that these students were much more likely to experience chronic fatigue and burnout. On top of that, Mental Health of America did a study this year showing students who work full-time while taking a heavy course load averages less than 6 hours of sleep. Not 8, not 7, but 6 or less. And they found that this leads to weaker immune systems, slower reaction times, and worse memory and concentration. So think about that. You're exhausted, you're stressed, you're running on caffeine, and your body is literally working against you. No one is performing their best like that. I know a lot of you have felt something similar even during a normal week. You know that feeling when you try to do too much at once? You get headaches, you zone out, and you feel like you're constantly behind? Now imagine that being your entire semester. The health effects alone should make colleges think twice about allowing students to work 15 plus course hours while working full time. But that's only half the story. So now let's talk about grades and academic performance. The U.S. Department of Education released data showing that students who work more than 20 hours per week are far more likely to have lower GPAs or even drop or fail their classes. So if you stretch that to 40, it only gets worse. A 2025 study from Georgetown University's Center of Education and Workforce stated that students need roughly 2 to 3 hours of studying per credit hour. So if you're taking 15 credits, that means you need roughly 30 to 45 hours of studying per week. Combine that with a 40-hour job, and you're literally looking at 70 to 80 hours of work every single week. And that doesn't include sleeping, eating, or having a life. There just aren't enough hours in the day. And when students start falling behind, everything snowballs. You get late assignments, you miss deadlines, you skim chapters instead of actually understanding them. You do assignments while you're tired, so you're not learning it like you should. And before you know it, your grades start dropping. Most, if not all of us, know what it feels like to rush an assignment. Now imagine rushing every assignment because your job doesn't give you time to breathe. Working full time and taking 15 plus credit hours is not about managing time. It's about trying to cram an impossible amount of work into a schedule that was never designed for it. So if it's this harmful, what do we do about it? Part of the solution starts with the colleges. And according to an article from 2021 called College Employment and Student Performance, some universities have recommended students that work more than 25 hours a week take fewer than 12 credit hours. Colleges could go even further. They should build advising systems, flag students taking more than 15 credit hours, while also reporting working full time. At the very least, there should be a conversation before a student signs up for something that could seriously hurt them. Colleges could also expand on financial aid counseling so students know about grants, work-study programs, emergency funding, and budgeting tools. Many students take on full-time jobs simply because they think they don't have any other choice. But students have options too. You can meet with an advisor early and ask for help planning a realistic course load. You can talk to your employer about reducing your hours during exam weeks. You can use campus support systems, tutoring, mental health services, writing centers to lighten the academic load. And here's the action step I want to leave with you. Take 5 minutes, look at your schedule, work hours, credit hours, and study time, and ask yourself if it's actually sustainable. If it isn't, take one step. Email your advisor, talk to your manager, or drop one unnecessary credit. And if you know someone struggling with this, check in with them. You don't have to wait for a crisis to make a small change that can protect your health or your future. As we wrap up, here's the big picture. Working full-time while taking 15 or more credit hours isn't a sign of strength. It is not a sign of strength. It's a setup that hurts you physically, drains your mental energy, lowers your grades, and pushes you toward burnout. We already have enough challenges as college students. We shouldn't add a dangerous workload on top of it. My message today is simple. Your education should build you up, not break you down. So take a minute to rethink your schedule, your well-being, and your long-term goals. Protect yourself before burnout forces you to. Thank you. I mentioned my references during my speech, but just in case they were missed, here are my 6 sources. National Library of Medicine research from 2022, 2025 study from Mental Health America, college student employment from the U.S. Department of Education, a 2025 study from Georgetown University's Center of Education and Workforce, an article from luminafoundation.org called Facts About Working Full-Time and Full-Time Students, and a 2021 study from Penn Warrant called College Employment and Student Performance. Thank you.